here today. Good crowd, and we have several things that are going to be taking place. And one of those is recognizing some teachers as well as students. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have the oath of office given to those three who were elected in the recent election. We have with us today the Honorable Richard Holloway, who will be administering this. He's the District Court Judge of the 25th Judicial District of the state of North Carolina. So we're asking him to come forward, and Mrs. Edwards and Mr. Hawkins and myself.
And Ann can bring your family, or if anyone has family members who want to join.
Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right, please. Okay, all right. I state your name.
I, Gerald Holmes,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Gerald Holmes,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor to support,
and that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution of said state,
the Constitution of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Gerald Holmes,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as a member
my duties as a member
of the Caldwell County Board of Education
of the Caldwell County Board of Education
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, well, Thank you, Judge Holloway. We appreciate you being here tonight and administering the oath to each of us, and I truly appreciate the people of Caldwell County and their confidence in me being on the Board of Education, and I will endeavor to do the very best job that I possibly can, day after day. Tim, Ann, either one of y'all want to make a comment? Or?
I'd just like to say thank you to the family, and to my friends who are sitting here, and to the educators, and to the people who supported me, and to the people in my church. And I will work hard to support all of their schools, all of their educators, the parents, and the students. And I truly consider this an honor. Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you once again for the opportunity to serve. It certainly is an honor and something that I cherish very much. Having children of my own in the school system, I understand what parents deal with on a day in, day out basis. And I just thank you for this opportunity, and will continue to strive to serve not only the students of Caldwell County, but all the taxpayers of Caldwell County also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the invocation for the board. I'd like to recognize our Vice Chairman, Mr. Dwayne Knight.
Thank you, Darrell. We've just experienced the Thanksgiving season, and now the Christmas season is upon us. As we enter this season, let's take a moment to express our thankfulness for our past and look to the future with the children and families of Caldwell County in our thoughts and prayers. Please share with me a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Next, we have a nice group of students. They are student council members from Gamewell Elementary School. Mrs. Knupp is here with them, so if you want to bring them forward, and everyone rise, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
You guys stay there just a minute. You all can have a seat. We want them to introduce themselves. And this is the student council from Gamewell Elementary. Future leaders right here. So thank you guys for a great job.
Thank you all for being here with us this evening. And also I'd like to thank the students that came from West Caldwell High School, Mr. Ramsey's class again. You might have noticed that they were taking a picture over here. They needed proof that they showed up tonight. So the picture hopefully will serve as that proof. Next, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Steve Stone.
Members, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, at this point, we, as the audience may not know, but we have a special two functions on the first Monday of December of an even-numbered year. The first, of course, is to administer the oath of office to those who've been elected. The second, which we've already done, and congratulations to the three of you. The second, of course, is the reorganization of the board, which basically is the election of the chairman and the vice chair. By board policy, we follow the procedure that's spelled out through the policy, and that requires that you each get a ballot. You write or circle the name of the person that you would like to be chairman, and you hang on to your ballot. Once everyone has completed that, I will call on you to verbally announce who you are voting for and to pass your ballot forward to me, and it will become a part of the record. On this particular ballot, we're asking that you circle one and that you sign your name at the bottom of the ballot?
Board chair, correct?
This is for the board chair. Okay, and please make sure you sign it, because it'll have to come in for the record. And we will start with Teresa for board chairman.
Daryl Pennell.
Darrell Pennell.
Daryl Pennell.
Darrell Pennell.
Harold Pennell.
Darrell Pennell.
Daryl Pennell.
Okay, if you will please pass those forward. Congratulations, Mr. Pennell.
Thank
I
you.
think we can applaud for our chairman. We will use the same process for the vice chair. Again, you are to circle and sign your name on the ballot, and in a moment I will call upon you to announce your choice. Okay. And Teresa, usually I would start on this side, but since Ann's brand new, I don't want to put her on the spot, so I'm going with you again.
All right, Dwayne Knight.
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 All right, you'll pass them forward. Congratulations to Dwayne. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the reorganization of the board.
Thank you very much, and to the board, thank you so much. You know that I will work hard, and I will continue to work hard, and I appreciate the confidence that you show in me. And Mr. Knight, you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the board. I'm retired. I've got time to spend on this. It's a real honor for y'all to vote for me, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. We'll move on with the agenda. At this time, I'd like to once again recognize our superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, originally we had scheduled to have the Caldwell County Chamber of Commerce to come and present sort of an update of what the chamber was doing. She did call and indicate she may not be here. Are you here, Barbara? She said she may not be able to make it tonight and begged forgiveness if she did not make it by 6, so apologies for that. We will probably ask her to come back in January when something may be a little bit more convenient to her.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stone. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, which the board has had opportunity to review over the last few days. Do I hear a motion we approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. You might note that on November the 14th, we had our regular session minutes, as well as at the conclusion of that meeting, we went into closed session. So there are minutes that the board has had opportunity to review for both of those meetings. Do I hear that we approve the two sets of meetings on November 14th, 2016?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the minutes from the regular session and closed session of November 14th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes. Next on the agenda is public comment, and as of 4:30 this afternoon, we had no public comments, so we will move on. Next is the announcements. And I know for all the students in here, the holiday is coming very quickly here, and you will have 2 weeks off. Your last day is the 16th, so the break is going to be the 19th through the 30th. And be coming back on the 2nd, I believe is the way it's set up this year. So we want to take this opportunity, and certainly on behalf of the board, and I'm sure the board would echo this, Merry Christmas to each of you, because we will not be having another meeting prior to Christmas. So Merry Christmas, have a great time with family and friends, and certainly Happy New Year to everyone as well. Our next board meeting will take place on January 9th, 2017, and that will be here in the boardroom. Okay, the next item on the agenda, and we know that a number of you have come for this, and we always enjoy this portion of our agenda, and that is the honors and recognitions. And I'd like to call on Libby Brown, the Community Relations Director. As she comes forward, the board's going to move down, and we're going to welcome and congratulate and shake the hands of those that she recognizes.
Good evening, Chairman Pennell, board members, and Dr. Stone. We'd like to congratulate the following students whose artwork has been selected for display in the Education Center Art Gallery. And it will be on display for 2 months because we go on Christmas break, December 16th, and we return January 2nd. So please, family members, come back during the holidays and bring your visiting family members to just showcase your child's artwork, because we love it here in the Education Center and we really enjoy it every day. We're very proud of the effort and time put into each piece of artwork on display, because it does take effort and hard work. So as I call your name, please come to the front and receive a nice medallion and a certificate of appreciation from the Board of Education members and Dr. Stone. We're going to start with Horizons. Teresa Hartley is the principal. Lauren Oakes is the art teacher. Katie Kenham, first grade, Horizons Elementary School. It's like walking down the red carpet, isn't it? Landon Dunn, fifth grade, Horizons. ALEXUS GLAZEBROOK, fourth grade, Horizons. Joel Murphy, fourth grade, Horizons. And Edgar PENA, fourth grade, Horizons. So I know Katie's here. So thank you, Mrs. Hartley, for getting those certificates. So we want to get a picture. We'll get a picture with you and your principal, okay? We'll put that on our website. Very proud of you. Next we have VALMEAD Elementary. Carol Sturgis, principal. Savannah Tester is the art teacher. Lakeith Brennan, third grade. Okay. And our art teacher, Mrs. Tester, is coming up. Priscilla Capula, first grade, VALMEAD. Matthew John Froh, second grade. Matthew, all right. Miranda King, fifth grade. Yes. And Tegan Wilson, second grade, VALMEAD Elementary. Okay. Mrs. Tester, if you'll stay up here, because you're also the art teacher for West Lenoir Elementary School. And Amy Lohman's principal. And Amy is here this evening. Angela Benegas Zambrano, fifth grade. Okay. Jose Uceda, fifth grade. Caden Miller, fifth grade. Dexter Mosley, third grade. And I know this young man is here. Ismail Pinay, fourth grade. I think our children have something else on the brain, like toys and computers and stuff. But the artwork is a gift for us at the Education Center, so we appreciate that.
All right, you got to smile until all the cameras have stopped. So hold your certificate out front. Smile for us.
You'll smile at me.
All right. What a handsome group. And thank you, Miss. Okay. Okay. 10 rounds and 33 words later, Aiden Crook, 8th grade student from Gamel Middle School, was awarded the Caldwell County Schools 2016 Spelling Bee Champion. And he will continue his quest of no misspells as he competes in the 77th Annual Winston-Salem Journal Regional Spelling Bee on March 26th. All middle schools in the county were represented in the Spelling Bee as students in grades 6 through 8 vied for the title, spelling words like diorama, Netherlander, and falsetto flawlessly, but falling short on others, fiend and dearth, words they'll never forget. The culmination of the competition of words ended with harmonica, and it was harmonious for Aiden Crook, 8th grader from Gamel Middle School. So I know Aiden is here, and his mother, Anna Crook, is the principal. Anna? Okay, you get one with him, and then you have to join us.
Come on up and get it. You can.
Yeah. And again, congratulations, Aiden, on spelling, on our champion. And he was also the winner of $100 and a trophy sponsored by the Education Foundation, Inc. of Caldwell County. We also have teachers who have received achievement. The North Carolina Science Teacher Association, NCSTA, has named Happy Valley school teacher Anna Lee Potter the Outstanding Math School Science Teacher for the Northwestern region of North Carolina. NCSTA recognizes educators statewide who exemplify excellence in the creative and innovative teaching of science. Anna often incorporates technology into her lessons and provides a hands-on learning experience to her students. Her classroom is truly a learning community. So congratulations to you, Mrs. Potter, if you'd like to come forward.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Meredith Griffin, her principal.
And a wonderful.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Yeah. National Board Certification, you've heard that before. Awarded by the National Board of Professional Teaching Standards, is regarded as one of the highest levels of teaching certification. We have 2 more teachers who will join the ranks of this esteemed group of National Board Certified teachers, now totaling 267 in the district who have completed national board certification while teaching in the Caldwell County Schools. Reaching national board certification is a demanding process. We've all heard that from teachers who've experienced. And we are very proud of each teacher who has demonstrated the required level of commitment and dedication to pursue this prestigious certification. Congratulations to Mark Demeter. English teacher at West Caldwell High School who received national certification in English, language arts, adolescence, and young adulthood. So we're very proud of you. Mark, you're still standing. You have survived the process, so congratulations. Congratulations, and I know Mr. Poole was very proud of him, and we have one more, but we'll hold on her till next month because she cannot be with us this evening. Yes, thank you.
Thank all of you for being here tonight. Now, if you want to stay for the rest of our business session, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, if you need to get dinner, if you need to do some homework or go shopping at this time of year, I need to get out there and do that myself. But anyway, have a great evening, and thank you for coming.
For the kids over here.
Oh, Mr. Ramsey. Neil Ramsey.
Is he here?
Okay, we're going to continue on with our meeting. At this time, I'd like to once again recognize our superintendent, Dr. Steve Stone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and again, congratulations to our teachers and to the students who've been honored tonight. And for our West Caldwell students, you don't get to leave because you have to stay for the whole meeting because we're going to report to Mr. Ramsey, so I promise you you'll enjoy it. You get to see democracy at work, and hopefully at some point some of you will decide that you may want to run for the school board or be involved in education in some way, so we're glad you're sticking around. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for your information tonight, we would like to present the audit report, and I'm going to ask Mr. Robert Brown if he will please come forward. He is with Boggs, Crump, and Brown, PA, and he will present the report to the board. This is for information only for the board. And I've asked Robert to speak in English.
It's kind of hard to speak the county language in English. Chairman Panel, members of the board, Dr. Stone, for those of you who don't know me, I am Robert Brown with Boggs, Crump & Brown, the accounting firm. I am here to present the results of the June 30th, 2016 audit. And with that, I would like to mainly focus on the opinion letters as I have in the past because that pretty much explains the results of our testing. The first opinion letter, there's 4 of those. The first one is on page 1 and 2. Basically, it's 1, 2, and 3. What I want to do is just briefly go over some excerpts from the report. The first one is the independent auditor report, which basically covers the financial statements and the financial numbers in the report. The first paragraph basically states what we audited, which is the financial statements and fund information included in this report. The second paragraph states what management's responsibility is for the attached financial statements, which is the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The third paragraph states what our responsibility is as auditors which is the expression of an opinion on the financial statements based on our audit. If you look on page 2, at the top of the page, we express our opinion, which basically states that, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. So basically what that means is we have an unqualified opinion, or you have an unqualified opinion, and the financial statements are materially correct in our opinion. So in other words, that's good.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, it's good. The next opinion letter I want to focus on is the compliance opinions in the back of the report, basically starting on page 74. There's three compliance opinions, one related to federal grants, one related to state grants, and one related to internal control over financial reporting and compliance matters other than federal and state grants. Basically, the first letter on page 74 and 75 relates to the internal control and compliance over financial reporting. Basically, this letter states that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting, and also we did not identify any compliance issues as it relates to other matters outside of your federal and state grant reporting. So, any questions on that?
And that translates to
That
good.
translates into good. The second report I want to discuss is on page 76 and 77. This one relates to each major federal program, or internal control over each major federal program and compliance over those programs that we audited as major. This letter also states that we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control or report any compliance issues as it relates to your major federal grants that we audited. So in other words, that's good. The third opinion I'd like to discuss is on page 78 and 79 and 80. It's the same opinion except it relates to your major state programs that we audited. Internal control over your major state programs and compliance over major state programs. If you read this report, the results of our audit did disclose two matters related to internal control and compliance as it relates to state grants. But it is important to note that we considered these compliance issues as immaterial, and we did not modify our report as related to this. So we still issued an unmodified report as it relates to your major state grants. Any questions? If you'll turn with me to page 81, 82, 83, and so forth, this just basically gives you a summary of the results of our audit. And then on page, let's see, page 81 and 82 basically, lays out the federal programs that we audited as major this year. Page 82 basically lays out the summary of our major state programs that we audited this year, just for your information. And then page 88 and 89 just basically lays out your federal and state grant funding for the year. Other than that, like I said, just going over these opinion letters, it is a good report. And I didn't go over all the financial information in the report. It's very voluminous. So, but if you were to look at it, I think I would conclude that the board continues to have a strong fund balance at June 30, 2016, and the overall financial condition of the board remains strong. So that's good. So,
Jordan, did you get that?
Other than that, in closing, I'd just like to thank the board, for allowing our firm to be able to provide our audit services to you, and also thank David and his finance department for certainly providing us information and allowing us to provide your audit in a timely manner. So, with that, I think that's pretty much a summary of the report. If there's any questions.
Neil?
Just on behalf of the Audit and Finance Committee, once again, we extend our thanks to Boggs, Crump, and Brown, and for the great job that you guys continue to do year in and year out. Also to David, if you'll please extend our appreciation to your staff on a great job that you do every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Good report. And just to reiterate, David, we surely appreciate the job that you and your group does. I mean, it's, how many years now has it been that we've had such an excellent report? So we're,
For the benefit of our students from West, just we have to have an audit report every year. It's required by law. And the reason for that is so they can determine whether or not the school system is spending its resources wisely. And the school system has over a $115 million budget. And the responsibility of myself and the administration is to spend that, but it is the responsibility of the board to oversee it. So ultimately, the responsibility for that and the audit rests with the Board of Education. So that's why it's very important that every year we have an audit for those folks to look at our funding to make sure that we're spending it appropriately. And that's what you heard tonight, that the Finance Committee, which is 3 members of the board, administration, and the Board of Education itself has done a great job of those monitoring those resources. Very important. When you have a $115 million budget, you need somebody to know what's going on, and that's the reason for the audit. So if that helps you with your notes. Anyway. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, moving on to item 2, and that is a revision to Board Policy 3440, recognizing excellence. We are, this is the 30-day, it has been up for 30-day comment. We have received no comments. What we're asking is to remove the principals list from the list of the honor rolls. Main reason for that, we've moved to the 10-point grading scale. Most of the kids who would be on the principals list are now on the A and B. And the principals list itself is quite labor intensive because you have that averaging piece in there. And unfortunately, is it NCY still, or have we moved on to another one? Power School, excuse me. Power School does not do that for us, so it's a labor intensive. So we're recommending approval of the revisions to Board Policy 3440, which is the removal of the principals list.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the revision to Board Policy 3440 to remove the section on principals list.
Second.
any comments or questions from anyone? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Moving on to item 3, some more policy revisions. These we are requesting to be put up for 1-month comment period. There are 38 separate policies that have small changes to them. Most of them are. It's basically in reference to the new Every Child Succeeds Act. That language has changed, so the North Carolina School Boards Association requires that we also modify our policies. There is one new policy that's kind of in there. The rest of them are revisions, and that is Board Policy 3565/8307, which is the Title I program. It requires that we have a board policy specifically that speaks to Title I and a comparability of services. So we've always done that. It's just the law now requires that the board have a policy. So I'd like to recommend these 38 policies be put up for 1-month comment period and that we vote on them in January.
Do I hear a motion that we place these 38 policies that have been revised on the table for a 30-day comment period, and we will take it up in the January meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we place the proposed policy revisions on a 1-month comment period as presented.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And motion passes. Okay, anything else, Dr. Stone?
Just wanted for the benefit of our West students to realize that it requires a motion and a second. And so that's why you always hear the person who makes the motion usually repeats what it is. So there'll be no confusion about what the motion is. And then there's always a second. And then only the 7 board members vote. Superintendent does not, because I'm not a member of the board.
And also, too, the chairman of the board typically does not make the motion either. It's another board member.
Yeah. See, when you guys leave, you're gonna know everything there is to know about the Board of Education. Mr. Chairman, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stone. Next, I'd like to call on Dr. Trish Johnson, Associate Superintendent for Human Resource Services.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dr. Stone, I have 4 items for your attention this evening. 3 are in exhibits and 1 is a separate attachment as a handout. I'd like to start with Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 includes usual and customary personnel items presented for your information only, requiring no action. Exhibit 5 includes usual and customary personnel items requiring approval by the board. I respectfully recommend approval of these items as they have been presented to you.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the usual and customary personnel matters as presented by Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
All right, any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Exhibit 6 includes student transfers for the 2016-17 year, and these are transfers that were received since your October 2016 meeting because we did not have due to a death in the education staff family. But we do have all of those inclusive of November and since December that we received. We received a total of 53 requests for student transfers. Of the 53 requests received, 51 meets established board criteria. We respectfully recommend approval of the 51 transfer requests as they've been presented. If approved tonight, that brings our total transfer requests for the year to 566. Respectfully recommend approval of the transfers as they're presented.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the student transfers as they have been presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay. Then I'm going to move to your handout. The approval of the Caldwell County Bonus Merit Pay Plan. Does everybody have a copy? Okay. At the closing of the 2016 General Assembly session, the state board was allocated monies to provide merit bonus pays for identified staff members for this school year only. It is a non-reoccurring allocation. The directions that we received from the State Board of Education, simple, the bonuses should be distributed on a locally approved plan. It should not be distributed across the board, so we couldn't just decide to give it to everybody eligible. And it could not be paid to certified teachers nor instructional support personnel. And the monies allocated by the state were to be paid to state-employed employees only. So that means if there are any locally employed employees eligible or paid from other funds, we must find the funding to also issue or to award the bonus pay. They directed who was eligible for the plan. Those eligible for the plan were school-based administrators, as well as central office personnel, and all other non-certified personnel are eligible for the plan. There are a total of $17,242,627 were allocated across the state. Caldwell County received $129,000 of that for our disbursements. We convened a meeting of stakeholders to do some brainstorming and some input, as well as Dr. Stone solicited input from the associate council members for those who would be impacted by this plan. We had principal, assistant principal, central office personnel, both certified and non-certified, central services from transportation and maintenance. Our dual employees had representation. Those are people who are employed in multiple roles, such as bus driver and teacher assistant or custodian. Monitor, we had instructional assistants, and all of them provided some input into helping to develop this plan. So in keeping in the spirit of what the money was allocated for, we came up with a district eligibility requirement, and our eligibility requirements are such that it includes employees in a who are non-certified personnel or school administrators or district level administrator positions. They must have been employed for a minimum of 20 hours per week, or if they are a bus driver or monitor, they could be included, and they had to be employed as of September 1st, 2015, and must remain in continuous employment until at least February 1st, 2016. We have to capture past information. There's nothing we can do to the end of the year because they require us to award the money this year. So we have to look in the past. And we're looking at the 2015-16 school year for meeting the requirements. They must have no recorded disciplinary action or letters of reprimand in the personnel file. They must submit a completed application with a rubric and appropriate documentation by the established deadline, and we've established our deadline as February 28th, 2017. And the application must be signed by an immediate supervisor. They must not be placed on any type of improvement plan as of September 2015. Our award categories. The following categories are designated for awards. Excellence in education recognition. That recognizes personnel for their personal, professional growth and development. So any employee who is enrolled in an advanced degree program or a degree program in a course of study that is relevant to education, they are eligible if they maintained a 3.0 GPA. So what they would need to submit, for example, at the deadline would be their latest transcript indicating their cumulative GPA at that time. So the latest transcript they will have by February would be the December if they're enrolled in the program, or if they graduated in May, they could submit the May transcript, or if they graduated in December of 2015, as long as it was after September 1st, 2015, and before February 28th, 2017. They could submit that transfer for review. If they maintained a 3.0 GPA, then they're eligible for at least 5 points. This will be a point system. Mr. Johnson will have the responsibility of determining, once all the points are received, how much each point would value. So if we have 5,000 points, then he would have to determine how much each point is worth. Is it worth $10 per point or $15 per point? And that's how they will be awarded their bonuses.
So about how many people qualify in these categories, administrators and non-certified?
If we wanted to go with total qualified and not, knowing who has done what, probably about 600 to 700 employees. Okay. Bus driver. Recognizing the years of service that bus drivers, and realizing that the bus driver position is critical to our needs, everyday needs, and that they're not recognized as much as they should be. We put a lot more value here, and we looked at longevity. If they have worked, and of course that has to be accident-free longevity. So if they've worked 1 to 10 years, it's 2 points. 11 to 15 years, 3 points, and you can see if they've worked 21 plus years, that's 5 points. If you're a sub driver and you drove more than 20 or more days during the 2015-16 school year, that would equal a point. Extra duty assignments recognizes an individual's commitment to and the support of the school district and the school programming needs. So those who serve as bus monitors regularly will be eligible for 2 points. And any other assignments, such as before or after school club advisors, if you're a dual employee, if you're an associate council representative, or if you're an after hours emergency responder. And most people say, what is that? Well, we tried to make sure that we were inclusive of everybody in what they did. And we know that our maintenance personnel and central bus personnel do not have opportunities to be bus drivers and dual employees, but they go out when we have line breaks or when they have to clean parking lots or when they do other things. So the directors of those programs thought that if we would have a category for those who do those extra duty assignments, that would be equal to what other teachers and other employees have the opportunity to do in line of extra duties. Then of the year, if you've been recognized as your school instructional assistant of the year, a bus driver of the year, you're eligible for an additional point. If you have been recognized at the district level and you were the district associate of the year, or you're eligible for 3 points. And then if you've received any state or national recognitions, that's an additional 5 points. And of course, longevity with Caldwell County Schools. Anyone who has been employed or who was employed as of September 1st, 10 or more years with no break in service, that means they didn't go off payroll, they're eligible for an additional point. So as I said earlier, a point system will be used to determine the bonus pay amount. Each point will equate to a designated dollar amount to be determined based on the number of qualifying applicants and total points. And we plan to make payment of the bonus plan pay in April of 2017. So far, this is our plan. We respectfully, are there any questions? Yes.
On the of the year of the district, is that any time in the past or the current one?
Just last year.
Just the current one, okay.
Not the current one, but the year before.
Well,
The year
15,
before,
16.
2015.
15, 16.
This is anything that happened in the 2015-16 school year, basically.
Okay, I just wanted to make, I didn't know if it was, if that was.
Now, you had to capture something that was immediate
No,
and.
I think that's good, I was just wondering.
Yeah, and the intent of our plan was to be as transparent as we could be and to be as objective as we could be. In some places, you will hear that districts are using staff evaluations, but we feel that that leans more towards subjectivity because you have 26 different people and sometimes more than evaluating, and you come up with 26 different ratings for individuals.
And across the state, it varies how the plans. There are a number of districts who are only giving it to school administrators. And we thought that would be very unfair for our lowest paid people not to qualify for this plan. So you can see within this plan, it's heavy on trying to recognize those folks who are at the lowest level of pay for the district, who also go above and beyond. So by far, this plan, probably most of the districts in the state are going to have something very similar, but there are some that really stand out that's only giving it to principals or only giving it to the central office because those are state positions. The other side to this too is that as we give this out, there will be local people who qualify and who get points. And so we will have to go into the local funds to pay for that.
There will be EC, there will be Title I.
Federal, that's right,
so
federal.
They will have to be paid accordingly from their funds.
And just, and the point Trish made strongly too is this is for last year. This has absolutely nothing to do with what they're doing this year except to the
Except
deadline there.
the college, if they're enrolled, we want their latest transcript to make sure that they are maintaining that 3.0 because it's an excellence in education.
And it is a bonus, a one-time bonus.
Trish, this is new to me, Dr. Johnson. So may I respectfully ask, is it that it is automatic or each employee, for instance, this 10 years of break with no service, that they must go ahead and apply?
They must apply, completing the application. That's the only area that we would have to verify. Everything else they send in to us as, and if it's signed by the administrator, then we take it as being, but we would have to verify that there have been at least 10 years of service, and we can do that quickly.
But it's not an automatic.
It's
The
not an
employee
automatic. You
go
must
ahead and
apply. So you can opt out. You don't have to participate in this bonus plan. You just don't apply. We're not saying everybody has to, or we have to find all the people. They will be presented, and we were talking today how we're going to get the information to the staff members, and thinking about doing a video for them so that they can watch it and put it on our website, and they can watch it and hear for themselves and make the information available through our communications department. But you do not have to, Dr. Stone, apply. You can opt out by simply not applying.
And there is a deadline.
There is a deadline.
Apply by a certain date.
The
February
application
28th.
must be received by February the 28th.
One other question, Dr. Johnson. On this number 2, excellence in education,
Mm-hmm.
this 10-hour certification class,
Yes, let me explain that to you. Again, we were trying to include those who do not enroll in degree issuing programs, yet it's required for their jobs to maintain current information and knowledge. For instance, our bus drivers, they don't necessarily enroll in a bachelor's degree program, but they are required, if they work on certain mechanical pieces or do certain things, to take additional training. So if they take training that is 10 hours or more, they can they can earn 1 point per 10-hour course that they take. The same with our central maintenance staff who may work on air conditioning and heating units. And then they can earn up to a maximum of 3 points if they complete 30 hours of training within last year and can show documentation that that's happened.
And again, the intent is to get those employees who aren't at the top of the scale, the ones who really are, making the minimum wage sometimes or the low salary.
So we tried to make it as comprehensive as we could and include, and we heard lots of voices, and we tried to put their input into it. So we respectfully recommend approval of the plan as it has been presented.
Do I hear a motion that we approve the bonus merit pay plan as presented by Dr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Caldwell County Schools bonus merit pay plan as presented.
Second.
Okay, opportunity for any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, and we will submit your approved plan to the Board of Education, State Board of Education tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your hard work and those who were a part of this process. I know it was not an easy thing to come up with, but y'all did a great job with it. Okay, next, Dr. Stone, do you have some announcements?
I do have a couple of announcements. One, just want to remind the board that on December 16th, that is a half day for students and for staff. Staff will be released pretty soon after the students have left, and that will be after a hot, nutritious meal has been served to them. Administrators are asked to stick around until all the buses have been accounted for, and then they are free to go. The Ed Center will close at 2:30 that day. We also we'll put this on the January action for the board, but we need to add an April the 26th board meeting. That is a Wednesday, and that would be around noon. We have our Southern Association or SACS accreditation visit on Monday the 24th of April, the 25th, and the 26th. And so around noon on the 26th, they would like to present their report to the full board. We'll have lunch for them and for the board. So we'll officially ask you to put that on your calendar in January, to put that April the 26th. I also want to share with you, you have a book in front of you. These came from the North Carolina School Boards Association, from one of the speakers who did a phenomenal job on talking about some of the 50 myths of public education. It is your book. I hope you enjoy it. I've had a chance to start reading it, and it will really change your mind about some of these people who are naysayers about public education, because it digs into some really interesting statistics and facts to counter some of those misconceptions about public schools. The last thing I want to mention is we want to officially announce that Mr. Ed Blair has notified us that he is retiring around December of 2016, and he will be available
As board attorney.
as board attorney. He will be available, a couple of months after that. So an item later on for the board to think about is how to fill that vacancy for the school board attorney. But we want to thank Ed for 24 years of service, and he's done a phenomenal job for us, and we're very thankful that he is also willing to help us through this transition period too. In my 3 superintendencies, I've never had to go through the process of hiring a board attorney. We've always had one, so it'll be an interesting learning experience for me as well as the board, Ed. But we appreciate your willingness to kind of help us through that transition. And you've done a great job for the district. And we plan to recognize you a little bit later on. We're not going to let you off that easy. that would be it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stone. Several of the members of the Board of Education attended the North Carolina School Boards Association state meeting in Greensboro just a couple weeks back, and had opportunity to hear some fantastic speakers, and Dr. Stone alluded to one of those. We also had opportunity to go into some breakout sessions and to learn some very valuable things there. So at this time, I'm going to kind of open it up. If any of those that attended have comments, then you're welcome to make those at this point.
I'm so excited that we're receiving this.
I know,
Yeah.
me too, because
During this speech, it was like amen time at our table on some of the myths, and just, I see chapter 16 is a myth. Judging teacher education programs by means of the scores that their students get on state tests is a good way to judge the quality of the teacher education program. That what we do is so much more than a test score, and I'm really excited to get into this book.
He's a great speaker. He really
It was
was.
a great
he
speech.
was.
He called an ace though, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He did.
Yes, I would say that when the time was up for him to stop, I could have listened to him on and on and on, and you don't often
Absolutely.
have that kind of situation where you have a speaker that you want to just keep on listening to, but he was outstanding. I thoroughly enjoyed him.
We also got to hear the North Carolina Teacher of the Year and Principal of the Year, and when I filled out my evaluation online, where there was a comment down at the bottom, I said, "Is kidnapping legal?" Because we have such wonderful teachers in our school system, but sometimes we like to steal one of these folks because they have such wonderful ideas and great presentations, and it's always really exciting to hear what other people are doing. And if correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the Teacher of the Year, he was from Gaston County and South Point High School, and isn't that who High Brighton
That's
is
true.
playing on
It is.
Friday night?
That's true.
So,
Be a good time to kidnap him.
yeah, well, that might be. So if he shows up at the game, he may be, you know, if he disappears, you know who to blame, so.
Well, the general sessions were great, but I really enjoyed getting to go to the breakout sessions because, you know, sometimes we all end up in the same one, or if we do, one of us will leave and go somewhere else because we don't want to all be at the same one. But just listening to other school systems, how they do things, you know, I feel like we can take stuff back and bring it back to our school system, but it also, the ones I sat in, I listened to it and I'm thinking, you know, there's things to learn, but a lot of our programs are the state would enjoy what we do, just from listening to what they do. So it makes you proud, which I'm always proud of our schools, but to listen to some of the programs that they're doing and thinking, well, we're already doing that, and we've been doing it, and we added to it. So, and I actually spoke to one of the groups afterwards, and they have been here. They know Dr. Blair, and you know, they know our system, and so we're known throughout the state, and it makes you proud to be from Caldwell County Schools.
And building on what Joe just said, they had one of the breakout sessions I attended was on academic competitions, and these folks have a number of things from, you know, Quiz Bowl to Model UN, and one of the things they talked about was the Youth Legislative Assembly. And when she found out I was from Caldwell County, she said, "Oh, Miss Lewis at High Brighton High School is really into that." And she sends us a bunch of kids every year and she helps with it. And so it's really exciting to hear when we go to something like this that we've already got teachers engaged in some of these things and really making a difference for the students that they have.
Any other comments?
I went to 2 breakout sessions that were covered by the title of governance. And it said in there that board members should not communicate electronically during meetings with other board members or staff members regarding official school business, agenda items or other matters that are properly discussed publicly during board meetings. This includes emails, tweets, texts, and phone calls. So we will not text you while we're here.
Okay, okay.
Or each other.
Say.
Or each other, that's right.
Okay, any other comments? We always thoroughly enjoy this and learn so much each time we go in the breakout sessions, and certainly the speakers exceeded what I expected. I had not heard of these speakers prior to going in there, but was just thoroughly overwhelmed by what they had to say. And the Teacher of the Year, I was telling Dr. Stone a little earlier, if he doesn't win National Teacher of the Year,
I'll be surprised.
I would be surprised. He was just absolutely outstanding. But anyway, a great time there. Next is the board attorney vacancy process. And Ed, let me just say, and I'm sure the board will congratulate you. I want to congratulate you on 24 years of just wonderful service for the Caldwell County school system. You have done an outstanding job. You've been there and you've helped us in many, many situations, and we truly do appreciate that. What we're going to do here is to appoint a committee, and the committee, if you can take just a few minutes afterwards to meet down in Dr. Stone's office after the meeting today. And it will be the chairman of the Facilities Committee, and that'll be Dottie Darcy, and the Finance Committee, Mr. Tim Hawkins, and the Vice Chair, Mr. Dwayne Knight, and Mr. Knight will be the chairman of this process, of this committee. So what we expect is that they will meet, and they'll come up with the process and procedure, and we'll move forward as quickly as we possibly can in this matter. So that being the case, before we adjourn, let me just ask if any of the students from West Caldwell have any questions. Anybody have any questions of anybody on the board, or how things takes place?
You have to have one question before you leave, so somebody's going to come up with one. We can wait. Come on, a question. How your school board works.
I will clarify something that happened tonight. Every 2 years, seats are open on the Board of Education. This year, we had 3 seats that were open. 2 years from now, we'll have 4 seats that are open. So it alternates every 2 years, 3 seats and then 4 seats.
And the reason for that is so you don't have all 7 new members. You have a little bit of continuation. The board operates in your interest. The board is elected by the people of this county, and they are supposed to look after the entire county. And so they respond to whatever your parents suggest. If there's a policy that we need, or something about dress codes or things like that, the Board of Education is the one who makes that policy. So they really are sitting here for your interest. They want to make sure you have the best teachers, the best principals, you have the money in your schools that you need to have any kind of new technology and those kinds of things. So that really is what the Board of Education does. They really are trying to make sure that you get a great experience, so when you graduate from high school, you're ready for whatever the next step might be. So thank you for being here. If you have any questions, we can hang around. Well, I know you're ready to go, but we're glad you're here.
I assume Mr. Ramsey will be giving you an A for this being here tonight.
We hope so.
Well, thank you for being here. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And we are adjourned, and Merry Christmas to everybody.